quilting tale today. My name is Shaylin and today's video is to show my progress on projects I've been working on since the last one I filmed in August. You may know from watching my previous ones that I've been working on several quilt-alongs and sew-alongs, some that have already finished and wrapped up, but I'm still working on them. I'm also going to be introducing 2 new free quilt-alongs that I've since joined. Not that I need another one, but I saw the final results of these 2. You can see them ahead of time, and I really liked what they looked like and just thought I would join in on those too. So my pacing is all off and I'm slowly going to finish these, but I have lots going on, lots to share, and I'm eager to show you what I've been up to. You may also notice a different background behind me. I'm not in my little sewing space I usually am, but this is the spare room with a design wall here, and I just use it to hang all my blocks I'm currently working on and also to lay out different blocks before I sew them together. And so I'm just in here to hopefully have a little more quiet while the whole family is home. But let's go ahead and get into the first project that I did complete. This is a quick short one. And this is actually a gift from my great aunt Janet, who recently turned 93 years old. She's the oldest sister of my grandpa, who passed away in 2009, and unfortunately I didn't start dating my husband until right before he passed, because my husband got me into ancestry, and I know my grandpa loved to talk about family history, and I just didn't take advantage nearly enough of the stories I'm sure he wanted to share. But the silver lining to that is, since he's passed, I've been in touch with all 3 of his siblings, and they're eager to share family history, and I've developed some friendships with them. And so I wanted to make my great aunt Janet a pillow to take with me on my next visit coming up soon with her. So a little bit about why I made this pillow. She gave me her sewing machine that she bought for herself in the 1950s as a gift for finishing her medical residency. And she's a quilter as well, or she used to quilt, and so she wanted to give me her machine, which I was very touched by. And so I wanted to just make something with her machine to give to her. So I was looking up different blocks, trying to find something that might be significant or have meaning, and I came across the Nebraska state block, and I thought this block would be significant because my grandpa and her and their siblings were born in Nebraska. That's where my great-great-grandfather came from Germany and first settled with his family, and so we have some roots there, and I thought a Nebraska state block would be a nice one to do. So I sketched it out on graph paper, did some quilt math to get it to a 16-inch block size, quilted it, and made this pillow for her. So this has some French general fabric, and I think this kind of green one in the middle is Mother Goose and Friends from that line. And then I just used white in it to make it pop. The background has French general fabric as well, and it's just a little envelope sleeve in the back here. And so I just used the same technique that I would use to make the quilted reading pillow. That was my very first tutorial on YouTube. I just didn't put a handle on it, but all the other steps were the same. And I used stitching in the ditch just to stitch all the rows and around the star in the middle. And so I think this turned out really cute, and I'm eager to give it to her tomorrow when I go visit. So let's get back into the sew-alongs now. Thimble Blossoms did a summer sew-along, and summer has long since passed. We actually had a little bit of snow for early November, which is unusual where I live, but I'm still plugging along on my Swoon quilt. These were some past blocks that I have pinned up here, but I've since made 2 more, and this is with the All Hallows Eve fabric line. So this is a quilt I want to be able to use in the fall. So here's one of the blocks. These are 24-inch blocks, really big, and all the blocks that I'm making have a background color of either this grayish taupe color, the dusty orange or black, so it's always a combination of those along with this creamy white background fabric. So there's one of them, and I really like this one here. This one is the black and the gray. So I have 4 more of these to make, and then I can stitch them all together and send it off to the long armor. I'm hoping by my next progress video I will have this one done, because it really was my goal to be able to use it in the fall. But it's gonna probably be closer now to winter, but it is what it is. That's how it's going. So another sew along that I've been doing is Moda Blockheads, and this is Blockheads 4, and this one has also ended. I'm getting close. I'm in the 20s now. I think there's 28 blocks, so I have a few more to go to catch up, but let me show you some of the ones I did and also swapped out. There's a few I traded for some blocks from Moda Blockheads 3, and again did some quilt math to get them to the size that I needed. Picking up where I left off last time, this is block number 18, Crowning Glory by Betsy Chechian. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Block number 19, Clover by Robin Pickens. And just a reminder, I'm doing a crayon box theme with these colors. So I'm choosing bright colors you might find in a box of crayons. This is block 20, called Stop Go by Stacy Lestu, and again I hope I'm saying that name correctly. I love this one. It has these cheerful little gnomes and snails and mushrooms and strawberries, which I think are one of my favorite things on fabric, are the strawberries, just the bright red against the white. It's really cute. And finally, this is actually a Moda Blockheads 3 block, so I swapped it out for bonus block number 7, and this is block number 53 from Moda Blockheads 3. It's called Bear Cubs Round the Campfire by Robin Pickens. So I put a little bit of brown in there this time. I don't have a whole lot of brown fabric, and because it's campfire, I thought I'd use some warmer colors in here around, like a log in the middle, I was thinking. So it also has a very fall look to it, I was noticing. But I really like how that one turned out, just reducing the size. Another project I've been working on isn't actually an official sew-along, but I've been making these Scrappy Brickhouse blocks for a few months now, just to showcase some of the fabric of quilts that I've already made. And so this is a free pattern on Fat Quarter Shop's website, and I've made one more to add to the quilt. This is from my jelly snowflake quilt that I made last year. Actually, I still need to put the binding on it, but it's with the At Home by Bonnie and Camille collection, and so just one more to add to that quilt. I think when I get 16 of them, I'm thinking I will sew them into a quilt top. But it's a great way to make a record of quilts that you've made using fabrics that you love, just putting them all together. So it'll kind of have a scrappy look when it all comes together, but each brick house will just be a reminder of all the pretty fabric lines that I've been able to use. Now I'm going to introduce a new sew-along that I've recently joined, and this is Sewcialites 2, which is also put on by Fat Quarter Shop. This is one where you can see what the final quilt is going to look like, and so I liked it so much. I knew I had to join this one, but I also decided that the last thing I need right now is another large quilt, because all the ones I've been making are going to be large throw or queen size quilts, and so I'm going to be doing the 3-inch blocks on this one. It comes in multiple size options, so I chose the 3-inch, which is a new challenge in and of itself, because those can be a little more tricky to piece. There's not a lot of room for error when you're doing the small blocks, so I thought this would be a good challenge. This one started on October 21st and it runs through mid-April, with a new pattern being released every Friday. I think a couple Fridays they won't do because of Thanksgiving and Christmas, but I've made one of them. Let me show you that one. So the first block is called Perennial, and I'll zoom in on this one coming close, but I just wanted you to see how small it is in my hand, a 3-inch block, and so it's really cute. This one was designed by Flamingo Toes, and I'm using the Sugar Creek fabric line by Corey Yoder on this one. I'm just using a layer cake that I've had for a while, and so I'll show you that one as well, what that line looks like. So I've been keeping my layer cake in my old box that came with the 2020 designer mystery block that Quarter Shop did. So these are nice boxes for storing your projects in. Here's Perennial up close. These are so precious, these little blocks here. You can see I press them open. I don't usually do that, but because I like my seams to nest easily, but to reduce some bulk I pressed the end pieces open, and I did do some to one side in the earlier stages of the block, but then I started pressing open. So let me show you the fabrics up close from the Sugar Creek line. So this one has a lot of buttery yellows, darker slate grays, light blues, these peachy corals, and then a bright cheerful red. So the rest of these are kind of organized by background color. Lots of fun stripes. I like a line that has a stripe in it to use those for binding. Let's see. And then this is a white on white flower scatter on there. And there's these cute ones that have the alphabet in them, just with the little dots all over. I thought this one would be great for such a small quilt, these 3-inch blocks, because there's such tiny details in so many of these prints. There's 2 of this one. There's the coral dot. And now we're getting into the greens. I have this one I'll use for the binding. And those yellows. And light blues. Oh, and then interestingly, when I opened this layer cake, there were these 2 pieces that just looked like scrap pieces almost. It just looked like little remnants that were thrown in. I still had all the pieces that were supposed to be in there. I think it was 42. I counted them, and then these were in there on top of it. So I was like, oh, cool, bonus fabric. So I've never seen that happen before when I've opened a layer cake. And then I'm just keeping the little scrap pieces because these are such tiny blocks. I figured these scraps will probably be useful again, so I'm keeping them all in this bag along with my binding, and my backing is going to be the larger print on white here, and then I just have my white background fabric that I'll be using all in this bag, and then I keep it in that designer mystery box. It holds it all nicely together. So that is Sewcialites 2. You may have also seen me talking about the vintage truck of the month wall hangings that I've been doing. These are patterns by Erica Arndt from Confessions of a Homeschooler. I'll link everything for these patterns and sew-alongs in the description box below, by the way. But this was my October block, which I already showed in a different video. Last month I showed how I free motioned some pumpkins into the quilting on this, and so I will just show this one up close here. Really cute shades of orange in the pumpkins, and I love the bright blue truck in this one, and then it just looks so nice with the orange. I thought orange and blue, those are good contrasting colors there. On the back I didn't quite have enough of one print to do a solid back, so I did a pieced backing here. The name of this fabric is escaping me. I know it's April Rosenthal's and it's a Halloween line 2. It's like Spooky Night 2 or something like that. I'll double check and I'll put that down in the screen below once I know, but I just used the gray and the orange in this one. So this was a fun one to make, and if you missed the tutorial on how I free motion the pumpkins, make sure to check out that video as well. And I also did one for November. These I hang up in my classroom. So this one I have the wood dowel on the back. There's Fig Tree and Company. I think this was the Pumpkin Blossoms line with the text on it. On the back here I've got my little wall hanging corner pockets, but on the front for November this time I did a kind of peachy coral gingham truck, and then the different fall leaf colors, and I love this brown. It reminds me sort of a gingerbread brown, kind of a reddish brown. I also used a low volume print. I don't know how well it shows up, but I'll zoom in a moment. It has a soft blue cursive alphabet going across, and I thought that was fitting because I'm teaching 3rd grade now and we're doing cursive currently, and so I thought that would be fun to have hanging in the classroom, and it contrasts really nicely with the peachy truck here. So I also decided to do a diagonal kind of crosshatch quilting job on here. This time I didn't really free motion, but used the blue erasable pen that comes off with water and just made 2.5-inch lines going diagonally across both ways, and then quilted over it. Took a little Q-tip and just went over the lines to remove the ink, and yeah, it turned out great. So let me show you what that looks like up close as well. Final project that I'm working on is another new quilt along. This one is from Lo and Behold Stitchery, and this is the Ombre Puff Quilt. I printed this free pattern out a long time ago and have been collecting fabrics for it for, I don't know, maybe 6 months or more, and I thought when I saw that they're doing a quilt along that would be a good time to jump in and get it completed. It's been going pretty quickly. I'm on week 3 now. This one started October 21st and it goes through December 19th. So this is a nice short one, and it's pretty simple to make. It's not putting a bunch of blocks together, but rather a bunch of pockets that you're going to sew and then stuff. So I will come in close so you can see the fabrics that I selected for this one, but I just love these fabrics and I'm eager to see it all come together, and I like that ombre look fading from one color into the next. So let me show you what that one looks like as well, and I'll show you up close what stage I'm at. Alright, let's take a look at these ombre puff fabrics that I've been saving. And by the way, these boxes, I get them a lot at Michael's and Hobby Lobby, Joann's. They're nice little gift boxes, but they also hold projects really well, and then you can get them on clearance at the end of seasons, and yeah, they're just really cute. So I have a few of those that I keep projects in. But this is my box for the ombre puff fabric. So I have all my cut squares. These are 4.5-inch squares. I don't have the scrap backing squares that you don't see in this box. They're by my sewing machine right now. But I have my pearl thread to tie it with at the end, and then I have my special needles I'm going to use because it's going to be thicker, so they're kind of a denim needle, and some curved safety pins to baste the quilt when it's time to tie it. But let's take a look at these fabrics. Some of them are already in pocket form, so they all have room to stuff some polyfill in them to give them the puff. They're just pleated on all 4 sides eventually once it's all sewn together, and then just scrap fabric on the back that won't be visible. So I'm just using a lot of remnants from past projects on here, or fabrics that I don't quite like as much as I did when I first bought them. But these are the pocket fabrics I have. You can see I'm going to be using these kind of rusty brown colors, a lot of soft pinks and mauves. This is from the Midnight in the Garden collection, which has a lot of the colors that I'm using, with the kind of earthy browns and soft pinks, and I'm using some peaches as well. But I found lots of white prints that have the colors I'm using in them. I really love this one too. It has the light purples in it. Kind of matches this line. I think these are both the ballerina print, but it has the gray and pink dots in there. So yeah, lots of different designs, geometric shapes. I wasn't going for a certain look as much as specific colors, so let me show you the remaining ones here that haven't been sewn into pockets. So most of what I've sewn are the ones with the white background. So these are the dots. And then these also have a white background, but now we're starting to get into some of the peaches. And again, this is more of a soft, creamy peach color with the dots on it. And then some really whispery pinks. This one's a little more blushy, but I thought it has the rusty earth tones in it that I like. And then again, the light browns and the different shades of pink in this one. I do have lots of floral, which tend to be my favorite kind of fabrics. And we start to get a little darker here. I don't know if this is exactly how I'll make it fade on the quilt, but I tried to group like families. These are the peachier colors now, moving from the light pinks to the peaches. This one is nice because it has the peaches and some of the purples that I'll be using. So it was nice to find some that tied in multiple colors that I'll be using. This one I tried to fussy cut to always have at least one whole bird showing on it. And same thing with the Forgotten Woods fabric, the beavers. I tried to make sure there was always at least one whole one showing, so it'll be nice on the pocket. Have to pay attention to orienting them when I sew. The pocket's going to be on the right hand side where you stuff it, so I want to make sure that the top is oriented up this way when I'm doing a directional print. This is the fabric that I used in the November Truck of the Month, that gingerbread color I was talking about. So we're now in those reddish browns.
Again, going from kind of floral to more abstract looking fabric. I don't usually use fabrics that look like this, but I love the color and I think it'll look great with the other colors I have. This one, now we're moving into the soft purples. This will be my backing fabric for it too. I just have these kind of dusty purples. I got some solid, also just to break up some of the busyness, was my thinking. So different kind of almost lavender fading into this pinkish purple color. I think that's my last one. So again, I just tried to fussy cut to get the bunny, a whole bunny on each one. That's the last one. So I really look forward to seeing all this come together, just sewing the pockets, each fabric. I'm just like, oh, it's so pretty. So I will hopefully have this one near completion, the rose getting ready to be stuffed or partially stuffed when I do my next video.
So as you can see, I have lots of projects going on. Even on my backboard here, I have different projects, like my Pacific Northwest quilt you may have seen in previous videos from a while ago. That's kind of been put on hold as I've worked on these quilt-alongs. I need to stop discovering them if I want to get these other projects finished. But I know I'm going to have a lot of beautiful quilts when I'm done with all of them, and hopefully by my next progress video I'll have another one crossed off the list here and something to, and a finished quilt to share. But I appreciate you watching. Make sure that you follow me on my Instagram or Facebook group if you want to see what I'm currently working on. I usually post when I finish a block, or pillow for my great aunt has been up there for a bit, and so if you want to see even sooner what I'm working on, those are a great place to stay the most current. But subscribe to this channel to make sure you don't miss future projects and updates. I appreciate you watching. Take care.